Denise was 8 months pregnant, and we were waiting on somebody that was supposed to come sit with her. She was on strict bed rest, and so the church people were nice enough to provide somebody to sit with her every day so she wouldn't have to get up and go do things. The first plane hit, and then the second plane hit, and I sent that person home. I wasn't going to go anywhere that day. My parents were in Pennsylvania. They were going to see my brother in New York. My sister was getting ready to board a plane in Alabama to fly to New York. And of course the planes were grounded. She didn't go. My parents were in Amish country. They had no idea what was going on, and they were calling trying to figure out. A group of local school kids were in D.C. on a tour, and they had to hustle them off to a basement of some building so they would be safe. It was a very frightening day overall. And of course it went on for 2 or 3 weeks. I remember that's all they showed, was that scene there at Ground Zero. And I think that's probably why Emily was born 3 weeks early, just the stress of that period. But I think the birth also showed that even in the midst of tragedy, new life comes, and that God blesses even in the midst of what tragedies may be there. One of the most poignant things I remember about 9/11 was a policeman who went after the buildings had fallen and the dust cleared a little bit. And he said as he neared Ground Zero, he could hear hundreds of car alarms going off. But then he realized they weren't car alarms. Each policeman, each fireman has a responder thing on them that when they fall, goes off. And it reminds people somebody's down, you need to go find them. And to hear hundreds of those reminded him that there were hundreds of policemen and firemen under all that rubble. People who had run to the tragedy to try to help and save others. And so we need to remember everybody on that day, but especially the responders who ran to the danger. Since then, of course, we've fought two probably of the longest wars in American history. And we've had a whole other generation of men and women who have gone willingly and have served valiantly and sacrificially for us and for others. A whole new generation of Gold Star mothers and fathers who have lost loved ones. We need to remember them as well. The whole world has changed, it seems like, in 15 years. Some for the better, some for the worse. I'll never forget reading a letter a lady wrote. I read it right after 9/11. And the lady said that she had been at a distance and had seen the smoke billowing in the sky, had heard the sound. She heard later that they had lost friends, but she had faith in the Lord. She said we have to remember that the battle goes not to the swiftest or to the strongest, but to those who are faithful in the Lord. And so she had faith and trust that God would see them through. And that struck me because the letter was written not after 9/11, but was written by Abigail Adams at the Battle of Bunker Hill, 200 years before. And it struck because here we are going through another time of trouble and situation, but her words still struck home. It is the